What's going on, guys? What's happening? Let me do here. Let me make sure we're working here. Alrighty then. Hit that. Oh yeah. Oh, that's good. Renee, what's going on? Pete, first one in there. Hey, Chris, occupy NASA so we can really know what's going on. That would be good. I'd like to do that. And find out what the real deal is, right? Let me see here. Make sure this is right. Let me see here. Well, that's a bit too high on the volume. Let's turn that down just a smidge. Oh yeah, there we go. What's going on, guys? Photography like magic. Yeah, all is well here and doing good. All right, just checking something here. Digger's in here. Caesar, what's going on? Oh, let me see. Yo, early stream today, huh? Yeah, Clerks 93. Yeah, we decided within the next few months there, because my son has competition at his high school and stuff like that, so we figured we'd just move it to 5 p.m. Eastern time, for a little bit. And then, of course, further notice, I'll tell everybody we'll just move it back to Saturday. Or if everybody's comfortable with the Friday, that's totally up to you guys, of course. Yeah, photography, light and magic. I figured that some of you guys would do that. Like, oh man, totally forgot about that. And that was so. Yeah, that's why I try to throw a little reminder too on the videos. I don't know if you guys seen my newest moon video, but that's up there, and I put a reminder on that as well as my latest or my last Mars video. So this way everybody can see what's going on. And just a little heads up, Larry Garrett, what's going on? Muncie, Indiana, I'm sorry, is watching. Thank you for what you do for us. Well, I appreciate that, Larry, and I'm glad you're here. Grosser, 4123. Hey, Chris, good evening. Happy Friday. Well, right back at you. Fake Clouds UK. Hey, all. What's going on? Fake Clouds. Kenneth Lear's in the house. Caesar, legend you are. I don't know about the legend part, but we are trying to just get the truth out. You know what I mean? Get this mic's not cooperating with me here. Let's do this. Move this over a bit. Go. All right, let's move that one. Oops. Let me see. There we go. That's a little better. That's better right there. All right. Just testing the other one here. Okay. Audio's good. Video's good. We are good. Renee says, latest moon video. Thumbs up. I'm glad you guys got to check that out. To me, guys, when I looked at that thing, I was just like totally dumbfounded. I was like, oh my God, look at this. It's right there, right next to one of the instruments from the Apollo mission. Boom, it's landing site. There it is. To me, I'm going, okay, rocks are rocks. I'm okay with that. But when you start looking at something like that and it's got these features to it and everything else, no way. Come on. What's going on from Russia? Hello from Russia. Glad to see you and dig in. What's going on? Bush Corey, what's going on, man? Good to see you in there. You said hi, Chris. Great to see you. Hey, all. John Beck's in there. Hello, everyone. Great video of the moon, Chris. Well, thanks, John. I appreciate you. Guys, like I said, I'd like to. The reason why I started doing the moon is because, like I said, we can do Mars all day long, too. But the thing is, when I look at it this way, when did it start? When they started to investigate? Because if you look at the moon photos, whether you take apart Apollo missions or the LROC or whatever it may be, when you look at those, you just say to yourself, okay, well, if there's objects there that are clearly not ours, then what's that tell you? Okay, so if it's some other weird civilization or whatever it may be, then clearly there's life out there. So you can almost bet there's life on all our planets. So yeah. Started from the moon and up. That's right. That's why I decided to start doing a lot more moon as well as the Mars, right? Robert Jones, Matrix. Well, that could be. Get that every now and people, yeah, you're living in the Matrix. And it could very well be. Timothy Pendleton. Damn, the last week flew by. Well, pretty much. Well, we are on a Friday as opposed to a Saturday, so it kind of makes it even shorter, right? So, but yeah, it does. It just screams by. Renee, gee, thanks a lot, YouTube MIBs for the late ping. I was only second, a loser number two. Who's taking it down? Oh my God, that's too funny. But that's all good, man. You're here. That's all that matters, right? Clerks 93. You said not sure of you answered this before, but do you think we end up breathing in chemtrail smoke? I'm pretty sure the smoke drops down to the surface over time. It does, because it's just chemicals. I mean, I don't know if you guys have read this, but man, I'm going to guess, man, this has probably been about 5 years ago. There's a big kick on this where people had it almost looked like fibers in their skin. They literally would see like bumps on their skin, and then when they saw, I think they took tweezers one time. They were like lifting the skin off their arm, and you could see what looked like live fibers on there. And I don't know if they said that was tied to that or what that was, but either way, that was just wow. It was like, what is that? You can look it up. I think they were trying to, basically say that's the same thing, meaning, it's linked somehow. Which Corey says, Chris, loving the new moon video. Yeah, and guys, there's more of that. I mean, it's just crazy. I know you guys are saying, man, I'd love to see some more moon videos. So there you go, right? I was overdue for one anyway. So I was glad I could knock that one out for you guys. Because, I'll have I got the two computers. So I'll look at one and I'll be saying, okay, this is Mars and this one here is on the moon. But then I'll just kind of change it up here and there. And it's just like, it's like I said, with the X amount of time you have, you're trying to go from looking at the Mars to the moon, and then you're trying to determine which one you're going to use next, and you know how that goes. So, Gibberelli, you said UFOs over our heads as we speak, and you may actually be right. I don't know if you guys seen that. There was what was that article? See if I can even find this thing. It says it was on the Herald Leader, which is I believe in Kentucky. It says strange night flashes, vibrations, and humming noise in Ohio. But I think it was the Kentucky Times that actually sent that. But either way, it's Ohio that this was coming from. At least this came from. In Ohio, town sparked talk of UFO. I'll get it out, I promise. And it's cool because it shows this video right at the top of this page, right? And I'll give you guys a link. You can have a look at it. It says a strange series of colors flashes that turned the night sky reddish in Bethel, Ohio, has gotten international attention as people scramble for a good explanation. So far, nobody seems to have one. Even after a week of debate, a doorbell video, and I think that was Ring, I think it is, doorbell, posted on Facebook by Tim Walker, shows a series of rapid flashes that change in color and size over 20 seconds, from white to red, that fill the horizon. And they're not kidding. It wasn't like some weird little, just a flash in the sky, like, some kind of spotlight or something. I mean, this thing literally flashed everything. It was like multicolored. And like I said, I'm going to drop that to you guys. You guys can have a look. I guess it says, it was recorded January 12th, just before 7 p.m., as Walker was rolling a trash bin outside his home after 30 miles southeast of Cincinnati. Anyway, he says, anybody else see this tonight? He wrote on Facebook, the sky was flashing pink and purple, super bright. Thought it might be lightning, but it's fairly cold, 40 degrees. And that would, of course, that'd be Fahrenheit for all you folks that are over in the UK. And there was no thunder. It was crazy. Of course, you can still have lightning without thunder, right? Sometimes depending on storms, you can have, intensifying winter storms that could do that. And it was slightly snowing, but this was clearly not just regular lightning. I mean, I'll show you the video. It's been a week, and Walker told McClatchy, News Money that we have not got any explanation yet as to what it was. He and his daughter, Carolyn, were both frightened by the flashes, which he says got brighter and brighter. The family lives next to 4,800-acre state park, which is quite norm after sunset. But let me just drop this to you guys. This is cool. Because it says it's Kentucky.com, which that's not where it happened, but regardless, right? Let's see. Okay, I'm going to drop the link right now. And you guys can always just put it in the next tab or whatever and watch it later or now, whichever you prefer. But really wild. I mean, you can see this thing and they're down on their parking like space, and you can see it. I mean, it's just flashing the whole darn sky up, and you can understand that, right? It's like, wow. Bit power too. Hello from Canada. Good to hang out. Moon video is great. That looks like some kind of landing pod or ground vehicle. Yeah, and I think what we saw was only partial, right, guys? I mean, you could see where you can have the manipulation and where they were hiding certain parts, and there's only so much you can get out of that thing to the point where you just run out, meaning, okay, what do we do now? But it just also goes to show you that even back then, they had some manipulation software that was way ahead and nobody else had it. And they must anticipate at some point computers were going to become common amongst everybody. And you can see where they've actually outlined this and put it's almost like they used a lasso tool where they could just circle a part of the ground and stick it on that area. And they would just cut it in the shape that they want and just drop it on whatever size of this object or of shape to what they want, right? Pretty wild. So, and even back then they had it, and you're talking about 69 through what, 71, and, you know, whatever, it doesn't really matter during the Apollo missions or the LROC, the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter Camera. So they were doing it since then, all the way through then, up to this point. So we're not surprised that they're hiding these things on the Martian photos. Why should we? I mean, really, it doesn't make any sense, right? Bush Corey says, smash that like button. Bam, thumbs up. 420 Alien, what's going on? Hi, Chris. What's up, everyone? He says. Henry Straight's in there. When was last moon video? It was posted yesterday, Henry. If you want, I can also get that for you guys. If you're not familiar with it, I haven't seen it. Let me see here. Let's switch it back here. Let me see. Of course, I'm going to have to hurry up and pause this because it's going to get loud. Like I said, this was posted yesterday. I'm going to drop the link right there for you guys right now. You guys can check that out. Bruce Owens in there. Hi, Chris, from Michigan. What's going on? Hope you guys are staying warm. I know it's a little colder for you guys. I think it's, you guys get any snow up there today? Was it today or tomorrow? I think it was one of these days. Last couple of days, you guys are supposed to get snow, weren't you? School on the moon. This thing just jumped up on me here. So, let me see. Thank you, Larry. You said you are a very kind young man. God bless. Well, right back at you there, Larry. Like I said, thanks for being here. Papa White says hello from Tennessee. I guess that is. Tommy Wiley, what's going on, man? Hold on, let me see this here. I don't know why they insist on doing this as far as like I said, the screen's like this big and then it's like a little section this big. You said, hope you're well, sir. I can't come in on Fridays as I work until midnight UK time. I'm on holiday this week, so I can attend tonight. Oh, okay. Well, like I said, Tommy, we're not going to have this. It's not going to be for like forever, right? We're going to try to make this, you know, for a couple months, maybe whatever, 2-3 months tops. And then we'll go right back to where we were, right? Badur M. Hey, from Faroe Islands. Hey, I got an interesting story. I'm glad you're in there because I remember talking on. I was a big fan of talking on the CB and stuff like that, and I was talking to Skip one day because here's the thing: if you guys are not familiar how this works, you'll get this storm. Let's say a storm comes up the coast. Now, I lived in Rhode Island, right there in I call it the armpit of the United States, but you know, you get a storm come up and it goes out to sea and it goes towards the UK. As soon as that happens, it opens up all of the atmosphere. And you can talk, you know, across the big pond, right? And so I was talking one day, and I'm used to talking to everybody in England and everything else. So, you know, I get this, hey, Chris, you're sounding BBC quality tonight. Sounding really good. So, you know, I'm just listening. I'm talking. I'm up on the international frequencies, which is 27555.0. And I was talking to a guy on lower sideband, and all of a sudden this guy comes in and says, yeah, I'm just curious where you at. You know, of course, he called CQ, which is basically like breaker on the CB. And I was talking, I said, yeah, you sound good. We give each other, you know, a signal report and everything else. I said, if you don't mind, what's your QTH, which is basically your location. And as I was talking to the guy, he says, I'm over here in Faroe Island. I'm thinking to myself, Faroe Island, what the hell is that? And then I realized it was right next to between Greenland and Iceland, which I thought was really unique. And the guy was using a 4-element Yagi, and which is a beam antenna, directional antenna. And it was on, they were on a DXpedition, is what they call it. DX meaning long range expedition. And I believe he was in a Land Rover, and he was right on the beach shooting skip. He was talking to the United States and everything else. He says, this is the first time I've ever talked to somebody in the United States. So he was like totally thrilled, right? So that was an awesome connection. So hello there, Faroe Islands. Oh, island. Caesar, he said, love from Queensland, Australia. Well, I appreciate you being here. Massanissa, he said, hi, Chris. How are you? And thank you for all. Good luck. Well, I appreciate that. 1225 Venny, he said, hello from Lebanon. Love your videos, Ben, and follow us since you had like 1,000 subs. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, a lot of you guys have been around, man, just hanging and chilling. And I appreciate you. You know that. Tony Haynes, yo, from Hertfordshire. I'm sorry. Hertfordshire? I guess if you say it fast, depending how you say it, England. Oh, good to have you in there, Tony. Will Martino, what's going on? Oh, he must be getting out of work. He said, afternoon, brother, driving home. Tommy also says, I like your latest video, too. Great stuff. More of these, please. Yeah, there's a whole like catalog of these things you can look at, what they call magazines, right? And you can just go through these systematically. And a lot of times it's really not a whole lot there, but and what I mean by that, you can see the manipulation, but there's nothing in there worth to bring forth, right? So I try to bring these things out, but it's just like some of them are just so well covered up, and people going, you know, some people still have a hard time understanding it. Just like, there's no way these guys would cover this stuff up. Why would they do that? It's like, why wouldn't they? I mean, you know, especially back in the day when you had the big space race and everything else. You know, even the Soviet Union at the time, when they sent the Lunokhod rover up there, and they couldn't send a man, but they sent a rover. And of course, I had cameras on it. It was filming everything. And just look at the Lunokhod, and there was more than one of those rovers. I think it was a 8-wheel electric drive rover, and it had all kinds of instruments on it. So they said, well, hell, we can't send a man. Let's send a machine. It's the same thing we're doing here on Mars, right? It's no different. So, and that thing, it put some distance on it. I mean, it literally drove all over the darn place up there. So, yeah. Robert Wallace, you said, Chris, would you go to the moon or Mars if you could? Yeah, sure. Why not? I'd love to see what's really there and not this doctored up crap we keep saying. I would love to go there. I think we had talked about that before, right? We're like, everybody's like, oh, I'm not going to Mars. I never come back. Well, some people said they probably would if they could get a round ticket, you know, round trip ticket. And as long as they come back in one piece, right? So, yeah, it makes sense. Oh, yeah. Let me see. Richard, what's going on, man? He said, hi, Chris. Loved the last moon video. Philippe Picard. Hey. Or he. Photography, Light, and Magic. Not sure why that's held for a review, but I said, but anyway. He said, I think NASA paid off loads of CGI guys and are now, employing artists that do a watercolor painting. All their shit images look like paintings. You know, it's funny. One guy said to me, and I'm not sure what the name is right off the top of my head, but he said to me, you're looking at this all wrong, man. And as I'm reading it, he said, I can't believe you believe this garbage. And what he said was, he said, you got to look at it upside down. And this was on the last video I did, where it has what looks like that structures and stuff like that on the left-hand side, way in the back of the photo. Well, after looking at it, I said, okay, well, I'll give it a shot, right? Let me turn the thing around. I put it in Photoshop, rotated the photo. But here's the thing. What I found was when you start burning the particular area he was talking about, guess what? There's more stuff there. And like I said, guys, they are using what they call, it's just a digital overlay. And they can block out anything they want. So I don't think it's like back in the day when they had acetate, right? They would just take this clear film, like on the moon photos. They would literally just mark her out. They'd overlay it, mark her out, do whatever they had to do, modify it. See if they made a mistake on the original, it wouldn't matter because it's clear. You can take that off and toss it out and you still got the original photo. Well, you put that down, do any little modification you need to do, then take another photo. There's your real photo. So the whole point is that original photo is still embedded in these photos, and it's no different than it is today. and I've seen some crazy things that started burning into those areas. Wow. Awesome. So we may be doing a part 2 on that. Actually, it might have been a part 3 because we did one and then I did the second one. So there might be another one. It's pretty cool. I'm going to jump all the way down here to the bottom. So if I miss anybody, please just go ahead and rewrite your comment. Don't want to miss anybody. Oops. Nacho, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Josh D's in there. What's going on, Josh? Light Me Watches in there as well. What's going on, man? Good to see you in there. MG Toes in there. Oh, man. Guys are all up in there tonight. I like that. MG Toe 6. I like that. Oh, yeah. CQ, KB5. What's going on? I used to go by Romeo India 392, Rhode Island 392. I remember, man, that just brings back great memories, man. I remember talking to a guy, it was actually 2 people. There was, in Venezuela, there was one girl, poor thing, could not understand. And you can see she talked broken English. Everybody's coming back to her because she's a girl, right? You expect that. But it was funny because I said, do you have a number? And she said, do you want my phone number? No. I said, do you have a number? I said, mine is Romeo India 396. I'm sorry, 392. And she said, no, I don't have one. So we actually made up a number for her and she started using it. So it was pretty cool. Really cool stuff. Ryan Chester, what's going on? William Tompkins' book has a lot of interesting details of the moon. Absolutely. Was it somebody else is on the moon? In fact, I was going to get that book, and I haven't gotten it yet. I think it was the other day I was going to get it and got sidetracked. I got family in on the weekend, so I really hadn't had a chance, and I've been super busy. I'm even glad that I even get the moon video out. To be truthful with you, so I got the 2 out. Would have liked to have gotten the 3 out, but like I said, been slammed this weekend between work and I got, like I said, family in. So it's a good thing. But I said I was probably like 1 or 2 minutes late when I first jumped in here. So Renee says the headlight bright star, I believe, wasn't an actual real extraterrestrial alien UFO starcraft spaceship, but my recent deceased youngest nephew family relatives member's spirit ghost. Oh, that's possible. Trippy, what's going on? I'm personally off work hanging out with you guys while Ancient Aliens is on the History Channel. Well, I appreciate that. Now, I know a lot of this stuff is new, which is awesome. And I think if you guys notice, is it just me or are they trying to go back to the old roots, right? What do you think about that, Trippy? It's like they're trying to go back to the first kind of, I don't know if I want to use the flavor of like the first, season, because I'll tell you, when I first watched that, I recorded every one of them. In fact, I got them on DVD, and I was like, this is awesome, man. This is great. I'd watch it. And then all of a sudden one day, and if you guys are all into Ancient Aliens, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The day they came out and they're saying, as soon as I flipped it on, it was like a minute or 2 late. I flipped it on and it said, was Bigfoot an alien? I went, oh my God, I'm done watching. I'm just done watching. I'm good, guys. So that was the end of that. But I noticed the new ones they're trying to go back to the old flavor where they had like season 1. Is anybody else feeling that, or is it just me? It's the way it feels anyway. Let's see. Tommy, you said the U.S. wouldn't want the Russians to know what was on the moon. That was probably the driving force behind, for secrecy. Oh, absolutely. Terry G says, firm. Everyone click them, the thumbs up now. Bam. Now, don't break the mouse. Just thumbs it up. Be great. Kenneth Lee said, remember hearing airline chatter through an old Fender guitar amp during a snowstorm years ago? Strange. Well, it can do that because, an amplifier, and plus it depends on the RF, how strong the signal is, right? Because even here, I've got the scanner here. I've got it's not super old, but it's not even a digital scanner. But I've got an antenna on the roof, and I can hear the ISS like halfway across the United States. Why? There's no obstructions. They're up in the air. Everything just, the signal just goes down like this. So it's not like it's going to go through buildings and everything else in order to get to me. So yeah, it depends how strong the signal is, how clear, the whatever, it's hard to tell, right? Timothy Pendleton says they'd cover the ground up if something is there. Period. The government has lies to cover, and absolutely. I mean, and I still get that people still question why would they do that? Why would they cover it up? I mean, it would be like they'd get more funding. No, it's not about funding. They steal the money now. They just take it right out of the. They just take it right out of the. Right out of the vault. Anything they need. Like I said, it was like what $8 trillion missing in 2001, was it, or four? And it was unaccounted for. I mean, so the black budget, they just take what they want. I mean, maybe back in the day, the Apollo missions, yeah, wow, ooh, so they can get the funding and stuff like that. And I'm sure they did get money, obviously. But at some point, they just said, hey, just take what you need. And there'll be none the wiser. The deficit's through the roof, so they won't even notice a what, 8 trillion. So these black budgets, it doesn't surprise me in the least bit. But they're going to cover this stuff. It's all about technology. It's not about, because knowledge is power. We know that. So if you get the technology to back it, well, then of course you reverse engineer it, so on and so forth. And there you go. So you end up with the bigger toys. The boys have the biggest toys. There you go. Mimi reacts. Chris, I have a question. If you were a NASA astronaut, which parts of alien technology would you be interested in? Just about anything. I mean, we can look at the, let's say it's a spacecraft. Let's say there's something there. Me, I'd be looking for anything I can rip out of the insides of it. I mean, because it's like that's the functional part, right? Even if it's not like mechanical as we know it, like a toggle switch or a momentary switch you just push, like they had in the Apollo missions and stuff like that. They had just push buttons and toggles for yaw and roll and thrusters and very simplistic craft. It didn't need to be high tech to do that. But you're going to want to go in there and just rip that thing out. I mean, it's as simple as that, right? I would, and if you get a small enough piece of something that's part of the craft, because you want to know what it's made of, right? You would try to take that with you as well. But yeah, absolutely. Definitely in the inside. Oh yeah, I mean, you're right about that. You said I'm sure NASA already figured out how to use these technologies, and absolutely, I know because you're talking way back in the day, right? You're talking back in the '60s, so late '70s, early '70s. Um, so they reverse engineered it. They ripped this stuff apart, and even if they couldn't figure it out, you can bet they're going to keep at it until they can. Noodles, it's a great question. Why was I watching the other feed? Hi, Chris. I don't know. Was there another one? I'll drink to that. Oh yeah. I've actually seen it more than once there, Max K. You said, "Hi, Chris. Have you seen Project Blue Book on history?" Yeah, actually, it's pretty interesting. A lot of interesting stuff. A lot of people don't know about, and I'm glad these shows are out there because they're being exposed. But to me, maybe I'm just wrong. But when I think about this stuff, I go, okay. When I see, I like the way the screen flickers. I guess because I put the light and doing whatever on the just doing this kind of messes with it. But to me, they probably don't care if this is out now because it's like like Majestic, things like that. These top secret groups and stuff like that. It's so back then they don't care now if it comes out because they're probably a lot more secret. So this stuff doesn't even get out at all. And if it does get out, it'll probably be another 50 years. You'll probably hear about it. Who knows, right? Jeremy Smith, what's going on? You said much love from Ohio. What's going on there, neighbor? I'm over here in western part of West Virginia, so in a tri-state area. Jason McVeigh's in there. What's going on, Jason? God, I hope you don't have to wait that long, Papa White. You said, I think before 2035, they will come clean about prior life on Mars. Yeah, as far as anything like, you know, actual intelligent life, yeah, I think you may be right. It won't be like next year, today, tomorrow. It's gonna be years from now. But like I said, I think they're working up to it. And like I said, just one day they'll just come. Oh yeah, we went around this rock cliff, and boom, look at this. We just found some ancient artifacts laying on there. Who knows? It might be just the smallest little trinkets or whatever. Because they'll have to build it up at some point, right? It'd have to be, some kind of plant life, whatever it may be on a rock, whatever it may be, and then they'll work up to. We already got the water there, so Now we got like a moss type thing on Mars. It's on the rocks, and we got that now. And it'll build up to the point where they'll just like, oh my God, we just found this stuff too. So clearly there was some kind of intelligent life on Mars. They're just, like I said, they're not going to do this right away, but you can. I'd love to see it like yesterday. It would be great. You know, not sure what the. Oh, that's a good one. Hit that like button like you'd smash a mosquito trying to hump your scalp. Man, I need a good laugh. That was good. Oh my God, I'm dying here. Oh, I love it when this thing jumps up like this. Then I'm like, whoa, who did I miss? Yeah, guys, we got like 105 watching, 52 thumbs up. Man, not good. Yeah, those old tube amps will do that. Even a regular amp, guys, would still do that. You get some kind of radiation. Well, it's an RF radiation if you really think about it. Even the smaller, you know, if you had just a small amp, because you can get, if it's not insulated and like a line in, a line out, doesn't matter because you get those chokes that go on your cords, either input lines or whatever it may be. You'll get those. And if you got interference coming from somewhere, I don't care if it's a sea beer going by your house, your hair go right through it, like your phone. Remember the old days? You had the old phones and people would just scream right through it. Yeah, it's kind of sort of like that. Gibberelli says they're only spoon feeding us small bits of information to condition our minds for the real deal. That's what I'm thinking. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think they're just building up to this, and it's going to get there at some point. Just hoping it's before I die. It would be great, or any of one of us here, because I'm sure we're not all 16 or 17. So, yeah, at some point, I'm hoping that they'll just spill the beans. That'd be great. I'm going to jump all the way back down here. So, like I said, guys, if I didn't read your comment, just redo it again because I'm going to stay here at the bottom. Oh, yeah. There's the trolls. Oh, I love it. Bring on the trolls. Mert. Oh, my God. That's too funny. Bush Corey said, Chris, you think the moon is hollow and brought to us? As they say, it's many years older than Earth. There's a lot of speculation about that. Now, whether it was, I mean, the sad part about it is we weren't around. We don't have any proof of that other than we believe it's hollow. Like I said, because it did, ring out and vibrate for like, a couple hours every time. Well, when they hit the lunar surface with the third stage rocket, and they would slam that thing purposely. And again, guys, they didn't bring up that seismometer up there for no reason. Come on, think about this a minute. How weird was that they go, well, let's put a basically it's a seismometer to register any kind of earthquakes or moonquakes. So, and funny enough, they decided to hit this thing with a rocket, and of course it rang out for hours on end. So it was no mistake that they did that. They did this all purposely. So the question would be, for what reason? They probably had this inkling that it was or is, and that could very well be, guys. I mean, again, I've always stated that, when you look at these craters, you look at the craters, and it's like, I don't care if they're a mile wide or 30 feet wide, they always seem to be the same depth. Like, you can see the real large ones. Look at the real large ones in these photos. Apollo, LROC photos don't matter. It doesn't really matter at all. You see them when they're up close and they're like really, really large, right? They're not even concave. They're still convex. They're still the same shape as the moon. They're still got the same radius as the moon. So there is no indentation. So what covered that up if it did in fact hit that large, hit the surface, and yet it still has the same shape of the moon? How does that work, guys? Tell me how that works. Now, some people had said, well, no, if they were lava tubes, which a 1 mile wide lava tube is quite large, and I don't know if they can even have them that large, but, and frankly, I don't believe that, but I'm not saying it's not a possibility, but when this thing comes up and bubbles up and then comes back down, and then you get that ring, okay, but still, wouldn't it be distorted in the middle of that crater at some point, right? I don't buy that. And it seems like it's like you just take a completely round sphere and then they just stuck all of these details all over it, and then it became an artificial moon and moved to us. I don't know. I wasn't there, unfortunately. I would have loved to have seen that. So, yeah. Clerks 93, Lazar said one of the UFOs that people were working on was a archaeological local find. I'll get it out, I promise. Yeah, I mean, they're finding stuff all over the earth where, what we thought was this is no longer that. It's now you're finding, like, remember that we were talking about this before, where we talked about the age of man. First it was, simple 6,000, then it was like 17,000. Well, then the sites that, like, what is it? Well, any of these older ancient sites, what they like, here's a good example. When you go to Egypt and you see these large pyramids, well, they're thinking the Sphinx is a whole lot, older than the actual pyramids themselves, and that the Egyptians did not make those. They were there and they just kind of moved into it, and then of course they built all around it. This is the reason why you had these step pyramids or these weird pyramids. Instead of going up like this, they kind of like do this at the top, where they tried to simulate and could not do it. So it's almost like these things were there and then they just moved into them. Of course, that's just speculation. It's just what some of these scientists and archaeologists they've been thinking about. And because at some point, it must have been before or just after the Ice Age, where there's actually a lot of water erosion all along that Sphinx and down is from, like, I think it was like halfway up down, that there was water erosion. So they're saying it had to been, which is like, I think it was 16,000 years. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. They said it was like 16,000 years ago. Okay. So it's not 7,000 like they thought. Cause I think it was the whole Egyptian plateau was supposed to be like, what was it? Supposed to be 7,000 years old or something like that. Göbekli Tepe, which is like, now they're saying that's 17,000. So we're going back and back and back, and we're finding older and older sites. How about the ones we haven't found yet? That's what's crazy. And then they're finding all kinds of weird shit on this planet. And who knows? They haven't even found some kind of weird craft or something that's crashed here millions of years ago. We don't know. Now man is what, 250,000 years old, 500,000 years old. It just keeps going. And I mean, they'll figure it out. Mr. Seven Digit, you said, how much of the ancient technology do you think NASA and other organizations have salvaged, as well as the amount of technology we use today on a day-to-day basis? Well, they claimed, like, back when they had the Roswell incident, that they had, when they reverse engineered that, they've gotten like anything from fiber optics to different things. I mean, there's just name one, but so it's things we've used on an everyday basis, right? Fiber optics is like, if you got fiber going for cable or whatever you got, fiber optics is used for communication as well as your TV, your phone, and all that other crap. So I think they got a ton of it, and I don't mean like ungodly amounts, but I mean, I think they have. If they went to the moon and just scavenged everything out of that, now of course they can only bring so much back, but how many missions were there? That's the whole key. So if they bring back, if they said, okay, bring them back this piece, bring back this piece. Now, they weren't all in one area. If you look up, just Google Apollo mission locations, and it'll show you the moon. And of course, it'll show you in different areas where they were at. So, funny thing about it is they're scattered all over the place. And yet you can see these weird, what look like either busted up pieces of structures or craft. So, how often was the moon, visited, or are they still there, so on and so forth? So, I think it may be still occupied. Now, whether it is or not, I don't know. Some people have caught UFOs coming and going and stuff like that. And, some people just catch it with their P90s, the P900s rather. They literally got that camera. They just got to point and you see something come right out of there. Like, holy crap. Pretty interesting. Odds of graph, you said, I'm stuck at work as usual. Will be a late one tonight. Already 10:30 p.m. here. You have fun for me. Well, I'm glad you still popped in, Odds and Crafts. We appreciate that. Kenny Riley said, "What do you think? What do you reckon to Mr. Trump's Space Force?" Like I said, I think it's a rewrap situation, and what I mean by that is they had the Space Force or the Star Wars project back in the '80s. This is nothing new, and I think all they do is they just bring it more alive, and they're going to pump more money into it. And this is the reason why, now they're bringing new Space Force and everything else. They're just going to bring out new technology, and just basically it's just spun around, just made into it like put a new wrap around it. Ooh, Space Force. I think they've already had this. Like I said, they've been talking about that since I think earlier mid '80s. It was the Star Wars project, and it's probably old technology, and they just want to make it new. So they're like, oh yeah. So now, if you see them going up there, putting this whatever out in space, they're probably dismantling the old junk that you weren't supposed to know about, and they're going to put up the new stuff. So, and of course, you'll probably never hear much about that anymore because you're going to say, "Good, what did you guys put out in space?" Oh, we're not going to show you that. It's like, well, that sucks. But I still have a problem with them saying, "Well, the next war is going to be fought out in space," and you're going to do what? What's going to happen? Okay, so you have a fight with a country. He blows your satellite right out of the inner atmosphere. Then what? Ooh, that taught him. I mean, because if you think about it, it's like saying, "Well, we're gonna have a fist fight, but I'm gonna beat you up while I'm here and you're in Italy." What's that gonna prove? They're not gonna. It's not gonna do any damage to the person themselves. I don't know. It's just weird. Kenneth Leah, thank you, sir. As always a great supporter. You said, Chris, thank you for all that you do. Well, I do appreciate you. Um, and yeah, hold on, let me see something here. Why is this thing doing this? I like to have this one ahead because if I'm lagging behind on this one, I can see it here. So, yeah, okay, we get that straightened out. Again, Kenneth, I appreciate you. Um, so, yeah, I think it's kind of frivolous to have these weird things like, in other words, oh, we're gonna have, like I think China. I think I told you guys this last time. And China wants to put like warships out in space. I'm thinking to myself, and what for? What's the reason? So, is it that reason, or is it another threat from outside our world, like Reagan said before? Is it a threat from outside that we're worried about, and not what's going on here? And maybe that's what they're using as a, well, yeah, that's the reason why. Come on, think about this a minute. If we were two different countries, and I've got my spacecraft out there with lasers and whatever else, and you got the same, and you blow mine out of the atmosphere, okay, now what? Did I take your resources? No. The whole idea of war is to either rob your resources or do whatever and take over a country and just put on this big show for the public and keep you focused on what's going on here and not what's going on out there. That's what I think. But that could be just me because there are the real life things going on, right? It's not like there isn't any wars. We know that. But yeah. Jack Bruce, you said, Chris, do you believe Apollo 18 did go to the moon? I don't think that they stopped, to be truthful with you. I think they still can continue to go. They officially ended it, but I still think they kept going with it. And there probably is a 19, a 20, and 20. In other words, they don't even call it an Apollo mission anymore. It's just trips to the moon now. And like I said, they've been talking about anti gravitational devices. They started looking at this back in the 20s, and then in the 30s, and 40s, that's when they started really going into it and really experimenting with it. Bush Corey, thank you, sir. I appreciate you. There's a beer waiting for you in London. Sweet. Cheers, mate. And this is what I'm saying. So yeah, I don't know. It's just weird when you really think about it. Again, what's it gonna prove, right? Um, and the idea is it's like they can say that, oh well, we stopped going, but we all know, like I said, what's it gonna prove? Why by saying that, saying, oh well, we just stopped going. Well, if you got the technology and you went, think about this. If they're doing a recon mission for like a high tech stuff, why would they stop there? How do we know they didn't send bigger crafts and then take larger objects back home with them? We don't know all that. We have no idea. Like I said, you could take the SR-71, retrofit it with rockets that'll work out in space. They don't need to have it airtight. They got their astronaut suit and everything else, or put it in retrofit like the cabin to have oxygen, like a regular atmosphere. Go there, have a payload like the old um, shuttles. Take a shuttle there. Because once it got out in the atmosphere, it could fly by itself. Put a bigger, fuel cell in it and go. It's already got the bay doors. Just has a crane. Pick up whatever you need, put it back in there, fly back to Earth. Who would know? And if you made it like stealthy, nobody'd even be able to see it on radar. It'd come back. It can come and go as it pleases. How do we know? It's just pure speculation, of course, but still, how do we know? It's not far fetched if you think about the technology we probably have. Let's see. Let me see here. Let me go back. I'll go all the way down here. Gilbert Cod, you said on the Anunnaki tablets claim that the pyramids were built the last time Leo rose in the east. Right, exactly. Well, they calculated that. East, 32,000 to 35,000 years ago, Book of Enoch. Absolutely. Now, again, these are ancient texts. And now, if you think about it, we're just starting to catch up. Like, when you get the Sumerians, when they talk about the 10th planet and so on and so forth. Actually, it was Eric von Daniken, which said when he had his book, I think it was the 12th planets or whatever. But, they counted all the planets, then Nibiru, and then our moon and the sun, and they come up with 10 planets. But they were the 7th planet, because if you count inward, okay, if you count in from the 10th in, so on and so forth. I mean, it's just really crazy. And now they're finding, they said, there's a planet out there. Of course, they're saying Planet X, they're not saying Nibiru. But yeah. What's going on there, Shep? Good to see you there, Shep and Soldier. I don't think we went back. I think we were told not to come back. Well, yeah, that's what I hear too. I don't know. I mean, but here's the weird thing. If we went the first time, then went to the Apollo 11, so on and so forth, and of course we had other missions besides that. So from the very first one, you think we would have been warned off then, but yet we kept going. So it makes you wonder, did they really get warned off, or they did just go to another part of the moon where they wouldn't interfere with these people and they didn't basically want to come after us and murder us all? Is, is it possible? To me, I mean, I don't, unless we were warned off, but other than that, as far as I'm concerned, they would have kept doing it. Why stop? You can do it now. You can do it over and over, and you perfect every mission to the point where you got it so perfected, it's like it's not even trying now. You just go, okay, it's just routine. Let's go. I don't think they would stop. I think they would keep going with it. Nick Mad, what's going on? Good to see you in there, man. What's going on, Rachel? Good to see you in there. You said, I remember getting up and I asked that thing if it could take me. Oh, okay. So you're talking about, I think you're talking with the other guy there, talking about spirits and stuff. Because Noodles was saying good souls are surrounded by a good ghost. Well, good to see you in there, Rachel. Rolando Alves. Hi, Chris. What's going on, Rolando? Good to see you in there. Kenny Riley said, you just lost a live pick. Anyone else? Man, it shouldn't be. Every now and then I'll do this with my arm. See how it's because of the light. I'll mess with that. You'll see it on. Now I'm going to see it now on there. Because mine's way before, because I'm actually broadcasting. So I'm looking at the live feed right now on my other computer. So you'll see the same thing. So it's pretty funky. Ricardo Laporis, he said, nothing very technological is needed. There is that concept where a satellite releases a projectile from the atmosphere at a target on Earth, the speed of which would cause a devastating impact. Well, that's true. I mean, if they're going to do it that way, but if they're going to fight amongst themselves, because first thing you want to do is blow away the other satellite first, right? And then go after the country. Well, to me, it's just like, okay, I get that, because they can, it's kind of like some of these states. Here's a perfect example. I think it's Tennessee. It's the law. You have to wear a gun. In other words, you have to have it holstered, have a gun. The crime rate's almost little to nil. So, because everybody knows that if you really try to break into somebody's house, any kind of rape, robbery, whatever else, you may get blown away by about 5 people all at once. So if everybody had some kind of satellite on space and just going, well, hell, I don't want to mess with them because they could just like blow us to pieces instantly. So, but does every country allow every other country to do that? So let's say you were the first one to put up a satellite. Would you allow the other ones to do it? If I had like something massive out in space, I'd say, listen, we don't want you to have something up there. In other words, you want to be the bully of the bunch, right? So you say, I don't want you to have your satellite up here. Well, we have the right to do that. Well, that's fine because we'll just vaporize it the second it gets out in orbit. And so I mean, it just starts with that. And as far as I'm concerned, because the more people do that, I mean, everybody could just lose their life instantly if you really think about it, right? What's going on, Alien Hunter? Good to see you there, man. Didn't see you pop in. I briefly checked out your live feed. I think it was yesterday I had it on. I checked it out. Good stuff as usual, man. Find and restore it. Hello, Chris. Hello, everyone. Says Renee. I might do that in the near future. You know, it's pretty funny though, because you said I want to be a wrench mod. It's funny because some of these channels I watch, they got like 10, 10 friggin' moderators. I'm thinking to myself, what? Is it that bad on your channel? You got to do that? Now, I just had one of these little trolls on here. It's like not even a big deal. I think it's laughable. I just throw them off. List sound, what? List sound and pick just chat on. Huh. Go all the way down to the bottom here again. Reggie, you said I feel embarrassed sharing this stuff like this. I hope you guys don't think I'm crazy or making this up because I'm not. I'm not trying to get attention at all. Just being real, and that's the whole idea. You know, I'm glad you do, Rachel, because everybody just shares their thoughts, right? And whether it be your dreams or whatever it may be, it's like, yeah, don't feel that way here. We're not like that. We're not here to criticize people. Everybody's got an open mind here. Everybody wants to, get information. This is the reason why everybody comes here. They want to share their thoughts. Whether it be about a pan we looked at or your dreams, like, we were talking about before about Mars, stuff like that. You had these like vivid dreams of what was going on there, stuff like that. I think it's cool. I don't see any problem. I'm sure everybody here doesn't have a problem with it. That's why we got a great bunch of people here. By the way, great bunch of people. Go ahead and hit that like button. Thumbs up. Corge Gralt. I'm not. I don't know if he said, folks, did anyone find life on Mars and gigapans? I think we found more, and a lot of people find what looks like little beings, stuff like that. And I tell people, listen, I don't find it. I don't know if my brain's just not attuned to it. I don't know what it is. I have seen one thing at one time that looked like a little person and looked like they were kind of slumped over in a craft on one of the gigapans we looked at. Now, a lot of people find these little people, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just more fixed to look at what look like mechanical things and structures, and the bigger objects. Some people find what look like little beings. And maybe that's why I don't see it, because I'm literally looking for the larger, much larger objects, because obviously you guys will see them better as well, right? So, yeah. But yeah, I think we found at least organics because we had what looked like little trees, or I call them naked trees. It looks like they're just branches of something just sticking out of between rocks, and maybe have like a couple little, tiny little leaves or branches coming off it. So, but that's as far as organic wise. That's pretty much what I found. The philosophy tool, man. I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing, bud? Good to see you in there. Alien Hunter puts on there. Dreams are very interesting indeed, and we all have them. I wonder if aliens do. Well, is it possible? And maybe this is far fetched for you guys, but I think it may be that's embedded in our DNA, because it's almost like I've done this before, where you're sitting and dreaming. Of course, you are surrounded by the stuff. Like if I'm looking at a lot of Mars photos, guess what I'm gonna probably dream about? but some of them are like really vivid, kind of like what Rachel has. Like you're like there, like you're on the surface. And I've done this, I don't know how many times, where I walk along, and this was in a movie at one time too, where they're walking along and they find this structure, but now picture it like a dilapidated like structure, but there's like this door and you can walk in there and it's like, it's basically falling apart and everything else. But you walked on this little hallway and there's this elevator and it's still powered up by like nuclear power. So in other words, it didn't just die. And the place has got like kind of like we have here, like you go to a hospital, it's got its own generator, stuff like that, its own power source. Well, that was similar to that. And I literally went down in this elevator. It was like went down, down, down. I'm talking like a mile down into the surface, under the surface. And you go under there, and it's like as you go under there, you can see like this window, and you can see these structures like under this domed, glass dome or some kind of dome where you can see this whole city, and nothing's moving down there. It's completely still, like something went down there like with a germ warfare and killed it all off. I don't know, but dreams can be like that. It's maybe your brain's trying to manifest it, or if it's something DNA embedded, who knows, right? Josh D sent just 25 thumbs up. Come on, people, hit it. Um, yeah, hit that mofo. Mimi React says, I found a bunker. You wouldn't be the first one to do that. A lot of people have found those themselves. They said, and even I said, it would look like that bulkhead in that gigapan, looked like a bulkhead where it had two sides that were identical and just weird stuff all the way around it. It was just crazy the way that thing was set up like that. And, people go, oh, that's just natural rocks. You get these people that come through every now and then. Seriously? That's a rock, man. Good luck with that. Philosophy of Tools said there are some countries with a lot more UFO activities than others. I don't know why. It may be because I don't know if you guys have heard about the ley lines, but the ley lines are basically, I think they're like more of an energy field, and it's scattered throughout the earth. And they seem to be more adapt to going towards those. I don't know if it's a navigational thing, what it may be, but they seem to be more on them ley lines than anything. You can look that up. And it's pretty interesting. Kim's guys is that's why I love your channel. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you, man. Awesome. Bit power too. He said, when everyone can voice their opinion, great things happen. Our governments don't want us to have an open conversations. They want us to talk about what is the news and our cats. That's it. Actually, I talk about my cats, but I'm a cat lover. Can't help it. But yeah, you're right. They don't listen. The government doesn't want critically thinking people, right? What they want is a dumbbell that literally gets up in the morning, shit, shower, and shave, do whatever you got to do, or you do that at night, whichever comes first. Go to work, come back home, watch your sitcoms, have your dinner, go to bed, repeat the next day. Don't think about the photos. Listen, just do as you're told. Be a good little slave to society and just do your job. That's basically what it comes down to. And they don't want critically thinking people. This is the reason why I love doing this kind of thing, because we have all kinds of comments, ideas, things to look into, so on and so forth. That's what makes it awesome. Robert, Pittsburgh, PA is in the house. Oh, yeah. Glad to be here. And hello to everyone from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Good to have you in there, Robert. In Photography Light Magic, you said at Roswell, NASA's dumped so much crap up there, it wouldn't be surprised. Oh, yeah. No doubt. Let me see something. Let me do this. Oops. Oh, that's not it. Let me switch this over because some of you guys just gave me a good idea here. Oops. I wasn't supposed to do that. There we go. All right. Let's see if we can find it here. It'd be great. If you guys get a chance, and one of you guys just mentioned Mars X3D, go check him out. It's my buddy Dave. I met him down in Alabama when they had the Mars conference. Really great guy. You got to check him out. Good stuff. Really doing a great job. He's showing like in 3D, like when you try to, what they say is you try to cross your eyes just a little bit, and you can actually see the two photos into one, and you bring in more depth and good stuff. I'm going to drop the link right now. You guys can check that out. And really, really good guy. Does real good presentation. Just a fun guy to be around. Like I said, his name's Dave Gannett. He's a good guy. Just check him out. Good channel. Sub to him. You'll be glad you did. Shep, I'm going to just say Shep Soldier. Say it 5 times fast. Our governments are scared of us knowing the truth, and more are waking up. There'll be great changes over the next 10 years. Shit will have to hit the fan first, unfortunately. Absolutely, I agree with you. Couldn't agree with you more. Because again, most people, like I said, they don't want critically thinking people, because when they do, then people start asking questions. They don't want that. Just like I said, just be good little people. Just do your jobs. Just enough you can be smart enough just to go and run your machines, or do the office paperwork, whatever it is that you do. Go do it. Just don't ask questions. That's it. That's basically telling you. Yeah, Shep, you said Dave's not here. No, no, he's not in here right now. But somebody had mentioned X3D. So I wanted you guys to check it out. Really, really good channel. And like I said, sub to him. Like I said, you'd be glad you did. Good stuff. Oh, okay. It's the way you had it on there. Not a big deal. You said not a real soldier, just saying. Cool. Let me see. MC Gaming said used to smoke cannabis all the time, but had to get it when I had kids. Yeah, that could be a problem. Yeah, it may not be good. Ricardo Laporis, he said, I loved your last moon video. Your last video about moon, rather. I'm trying to figure out what the rocks are until now. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Clearly, there's rocks on the surface of the moon. We know that, right? I mean, that's just common sense. That's all it is basically dirt and soil and whatever and rocks. But when they try to blend it in so well, wow, it's just they do a fantastic job, guys. They did a really, really good job, and I think they anticipated that, because why would you do it then, unless of course they changed it before the computer was common amongst the public, because clearly they had computers. Of course, your phone had more computing power than a computer that's like 3 times the length of a pickup truck. So, but they knew at some point people were going to start breaking these down. They're saying, well, if we got computers, clearly the public is going to start getting them, right? Makes sense. So, they probably said back then, let's go ahead and do that. What the hell? Exactly, Corge. You put on there, you just place 2 photos, one next to the other. And yeah, they're going to be identical. And then, of course, and you said, get the right zoom for them, and then voila. Yeah. And basically, it's like I said, you remember the old time you used to look at them sailboat ones? You had them weird picture, and you had to, like, I couldn't see it. But then you kind of like it's almost like you blurred your eyes across your eyes, and all of a sudden, boom, it just became visible. It's basically the same thing. Rachel says people don't realize that we all live in space on a planet of what we call home. Uh, people are not broken from the system. People are brainwashed to sustain culture and not double think it's programmed. Well, and that's what it comes down to. Again, they don't want you to think outside the box. Again, to stay in your own humdrum life. Don't think about nothing. What you're seeing on YouTube is all fake. Like that. What was that they used to have on there? If it's on the internet, it must be true. Well, a lot of it is, and that's the whole point. But they make fun of that, saying, "Well, no, none of it is." But come on, it doesn't make any sense. You know, um, because a lot of it is absolutely true. And of course, there's a lot of people are just, throwing out garbage and, that faking it and everything else. Um, this is the reason why when I do videos, I go, listen, here's the links. You guys get every link. I don't like a channel that does their own work where you can't see it for yourself. I don't care if they're looking at other things, because other people have done Mars photos, right? And they would do it, and you never got a link. You got to show links to these photos, because then it's whether they believe your work is immaterial, because they can grab the link themselves and look at it. And that's what's important. And that's what people need to do. I don't care if you're looking at the moon. When you look at the moon, there's no way to just say, is that stuff there or not? Because most people don't have a telescope. Some do. Some people do things in, like if they went out and they found something like some kind of weird artifact in their area. Well, unless you go there, you can say, okay, it is, you can hold it. Okay, it's authentic or not, or it's been made to look, like it's the real deal. And like I said in my moon video where I said, I think they went up there for technology and not for rocks. The rocks, if they did get them, that was a PR move. The rest of it was not. That was just simple, you know, uh, the rest of it, like I said, they were there to recon what's on the surface of the moon. And like I said, this is the reason why I believe that they said, well, how do they put it? Said something about, well, a couple of countries said, oh, these rocks are fake. And it would make sense. It makes absolute sense because they probably never brought one rock back, maybe some dust, but not a rock, and brought the dust back. And they had only so much room and weight, so much of a payload they could take back. And it would make sense to me why that's true, because they didn't have room for rocks. They only had room for that. So they just come up with the best rock they can find here. And others, oh, yeah, well, it's got a lot in common with Earth because look, it's got the same kind of, whether metals in it or whatever else. Yeah, here we go. So, yeah. Massanissa, you put on there, we are not alone in this big universe. Absolutely not. I don't believe so. Renee von Oosterhood, good to see you in there. He said, predictive dreams ends. I'm not sure what that is, but all right. But yeah, I mean, usually they say, and it's funny because you said about dreams, usually they say your dreams usually consist of whatever happened to you during the day. That's pretty much. So that's why I said if you surround yourself with something long enough, like if you went to some car show, exotic car show, there's a good chance you're going to be probably dreaming about, God, I wish I had one of those Lambos, or I had this Ferrari, or whatever it may be. And so, yeah. So if you're engrossed or in basically delving into these Mars photos, there's a good chance you're going to think about it. But sometimes I don't even have to do that. I'll dream about it. It's almost the same dream almost all the time, but little variances. But who knows, right? Like I said, I think some of it may be embedded in our dreams, in our DNA itself. Charlene, you said, Samson, you put, you have a great attitude and do amazing work. Thank you sincerely. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Dark Chuck, Little Chuck, when did you jump in there? I didn't even see you get in there. Good to see you, man. Oh, Barry, you're right about that. I mean, you said something crazy as I watch remote viewing on the Egyptian pyramids kind of ties in with Mars thing. I'm telling you. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, because you got the pyramids of Giza and you've got the face of Cydonia, you got the Cydonia region. A lot of that is basically a connection. And that's what that's all about. That's how that started, right? So they had this, what they call the city in the Cydonia region. And they're pretty much laid out like we have the way the pyramids, I should say the pyramid plateau of Giza Plateau, that they're pretty much almost a mirror image. And that's what they're saying. So it's pretty cool. Talk Little Chuck says, oh, wow, all-star lineup. Yep, you just jumped in there too, so there you go. Brian Chesty says, is the moon broadcasting a frequency range that is harmful to humanity? Not that I know of. Not that I'm aware of. Now, of course, we know that frequencies can actually affect the body, right? So maybe that could be. But if that's the case, well, actually, you could actually say that could be true, because if they really wanted to, they can just affect the body, just give off a certain frequency and make everybody violent. Next thing you know, they're fighting each other in the streets and everything else. But I think that's just nature. That's what we do, And this is the reason why I said if I was some kind of alien, I wouldn't I wouldn't bother with this planet. So these people are still barbarians. There's no way in hell we're going to even interact with these people. But I also believe that the elite, if we've been sending out a signal saying, is there anybody out there, we'd like to connect with our neighbors and so on and so forth, and they finally got an answer, and there you go. They're just talking to the elites, of the planet, or basically the owners of the planet, we'll call it. Then they may be talking with aliens, but the rest of them, they're just going, of course, we are still seeing them. The cool thing about it is with everybody having a camera nowadays, everybody can see these things. It's just awesome. Did you guys also hear about this? Got this up on the other monitor here. Glitch puts NASA's Curiosity rover out of commission. I don't know if you guys have read that. And it was on the, I'm trying to remember what page this was on. Let me go up here on the other monitor. I think it's futurism.com. But anyway, so I looked again, and it was actually on space.com. So it is, the real deal. NASA's Curiosity rover on Mars is sidelined by glitch. They're trying to figure out what happened. They did a memory dump on it. They're trying to figure out what's going on. Imagine that. After they started to doctor up these photos, okay, now all of a sudden, we got a glitch. And this is what's weird. Within, I think it says on there, within 100 or 200 sols, this is what happened. When this rover landed, within 200 sols, so from the time it did a systems check, started to roll out its instruments and the wheels and testing itself and all this other stuff and make sure its diagnostics were all good, this thing rolled along. So from that point up to 200, the motherboard took a dump on this thing. I don't know if it's vibrations or whatever it was, but then they went over to the redundant one. There's a second motherboard. What I didn't know, now I don't know how true this is, but they said a while back they had fixed that first one. So in other words, the second one became the main one, and then the original one is now the second backup. So now what they're thinking about is switching it over, because they said NASA's Curiosity rover has temporarily halted science operations because of a glitch. Mission team members announced today, and of course it was September 19th. And then of course it went to, so it started back then, which I'm kind of puzzled by, because the other one, I don't know if it's a new glitch. Because this one here on this page says, experienced a technical glitch, forcing it to stop in its tracks. Partway through its last set of activities, Curiosity lost its orientation. Dawn Summer, a planetary geologist at UC Davis and Curiosity science team member, wrote on an update. Some knowledge of its attitude was not quite right, so it couldn't make an essential safety evaluation. So, in other words, it just stopped. If it can't navigate by itself autonomously, it ought to just comes to a stop and just halts right there. And it's been made and designed to do that. Curiosity, here we go. Curiosity is programmed not to move anything until it's confident that the movement can be executed without potential danger. Now, according to Summer, something seems to have gone wrong with that system, effectively shutting the rover down. This conservative approach helps keep Curiosity from hitting its arm, which is basically its turd arm, on rocks, driving over something dangerous, or pointing an unprotected camera at the sun, Summer wrote. The team back on the ground is already working on a plan to get out what caused the glitch. Find out, I'm sorry. As of today, Curiosity has spent 2,736 Earth days, close to 7.5 years, on the surface of the red planet, where it is still conducting valuable research. Just last week, the rover stopped to investigate a strange trough. I don't know if you guys seen that, because they said that. In fact, I think it was part of that gigapan that I did. I said, you can literally, it looks like you can walk. There's a rock there next to the rover, and there was a trough. It looks like a walkway. It looked like you can walk. And I said, if you were to keep walking, that stuff is not that big down where it looks like it's a mountain area. That's the trough they're talking about. All of a sudden, boom, shut down. So it said stop to investigate a strange trough in the nearby Martian landscape, according to an update. So yeah, that's basically what they're saying. Funny enough, right? Pete Ferrero, yeah, they're full of crap, but you got to read between the lines, right? I think that's the case. I really do. Because, like I said, some of this, yeah, Robert, you're right about that. You said how convenient. Because, like I said, that last pan I did, and like I said, somebody mentioned to me, oh, well, you don't understand. You should flip that photo 90 degrees, basically upside down. What I did notice when I did that, I was using the burn tool, and I found some other nice little details in this thing, or these things. And it's almost like they're multi-level structures. And I don't mean like we build like a skyscraper, but just like in rock and weird stuff, man. I'm going to work on that a little bit more and see what I can find. So this one here might take a little bit longer to get out, but I'm hoping that it'll convey what what I'm seeing as well. So definitely. Just yeah, glitch. Yes. Well, there are things that like that when we turn to the moon, and yeah, and of course, yeah, you know that's going to happen, right? Suddenly, oh, we got a major glitch here. What's going on? Yeah. Oh, what we meant to say was we need to rework our manipulation details. I mean, yeah, there's a glitch in the computer. Lucky Mo, what's going on? Good to have you in there. The real truth may be so complex that our government doesn't know how to disclose the intricacy. Or intricately rather, complicated story of ETs involved in the history of our solar system and the human race. Well, that's to me, this is the reason why I said, well, you know what? Maybe back in the 50s when they were already doing like 40s actually, when they were doing flybys by, either flyby or landing on Venus, Mars, all this stuff back when the Soviet Union was Soviet Union, um, uh, NASA, and all of these people were going, to me, it just makes sense that they should have opened up about it then. However, being that when they were doing the flybys and the landing, the early ones anyway, that if it was a space race, you know damn well, oh my God, it was all up for grabs and everybody was just all over that stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, again, they're having a problem. I think that they're on a stumbling block. They're trying to figure out how can we break it to the people without, like scaring the shit out of some people. To me, it just makes sense. Listen, step by step by step, but just accelerate the steps. Ooh, we've got water here. We've got a water cycle on Mars, so on and so forth. Ooh, turn a corner, man. Find some moss, find some plant, and then accelerate it from there. Oh, and then we just found this other area that it seems to be maybe because it's less brine, meaning salt water, highly content, well, highly salt content of water. So basically, it's a salt water. We found more, fresh water as opposed to salt water. And guess what? We found plant life. Blah 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 blah. Just accelerate it, man, and it'll be fine. I think people can handle it. I think they're not morons. They can handle the truth. 357 Robbie, what's going on? Haven't seen you in a while. The guy forgot to go out and clean the camera. Yeah, well, again, remember that when they had the Mars Insight, they had that lander. That was funny because, like I said, when they first, it's almost like they were afraid to show the very first photo to the public because it's basically they had the cameras in there so the public could see it, but they also had the cameras so everybody in NASA could see it. And the funny thing about it was when they first had that, they had all of these little blotches all over the camera, like it was like dust particles. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's probably dust." Well, wait a minute. The next photo, like I said, it was like blue sky, and even you could hear the people going, "Look, look, the sky's blue." Not 10 seconds later, completely everything was orange because they put that filter, they slid that filter over the camera. And guess what? None of that dust was there. How did the dust get cleaned off that quick? I think, and it's just because I haven't read anything about this, but it's pure speculation. But I think right on the side, picture the camera. Of course, I'm making it larger so you guys can see it. But let's say it's this big. I think they got like two little like air jets on the side. They're gonna and it just blows that stuff right off. I don't think it ever claimed that. If you guys have ever read that, say something because I don't ever remember reading about that. And the funny thing about it is, I think if it's just dust, then hit it with a high pressure shot of air, and you just blew it all off. And they could easily do that. But my thing was, like I said, it was the first thing they saw was these little dots all over the camera. And then, wow, the sky's blue. You can see it was blue. And even the people, wow, the sky's blue. And then all of a sudden, like I said, now 10 seconds later, it was all red. Oh, that orangey pukey color, right? What? Yeah, please. Oh, Barry, all I can say is you said, I've never seen nothing on the moon that made me go, what the? Well, just get the photos yourself. Even if you don't believe whether it's you're watching my channel, anybody else's channel, Get the links yourself. I always drop the links in a pinned comment section. In the comment section, I always pin my comment up there with the links. Just go into the links, look at it for yourself. And it's not just one photo. Just look at it intricately. Like I said, I tell people just bring up the picture, don't zoom into it, use a magnifying glass and look at it. And you might go, oh, this picture's got nothing in it. It's just rock and crap. Nothing there to say. Okay, move along. But you're going to find something that's going to make you question it. And that's when you're going to say, wow, okay, so what am I looking at here? What is it? Why is it on Mars or the moon, depending on what you're looking at? Ask yourself those questions. Because I did the same thing. I said, there's no way. When I'm first looking at these, I'm saying, there's just no way. And I had just a real hard time just wrapping my mind around the idea that something else is on another planet or a moon, right? But if you're being legit, then just check it out, Barry. That's all I can tell you. Let me see. Oh, hold on. Just jumped here. Barry, you said, I've watched the whole Hoagland thing on the Chinese lander and on the moon and the rabbit and the shot of glass, and I'm not sold. It's not really about, being sold by somebody else's work. Again, just look at your own stuff. Look at it for yourself. Just scrutinize. Don't just go over the photos. Just go buy them real quick. Literally take your time with them. Like I said, nobody's out here to convince you. It's like my channel. I don't convince anybody. I just say, listen, guys, I found something interesting. I want you guys, this is what I believe it looks like or something that they're trying to hide. What do you guys think it is? We're not here to bang it into your head. That's not what this channel's about. I tell people, get your own links, look at the stuff yourself, make your own decision. You still may come to that conclusion. Oh, it's nothing. Then so be it. But to me, anomalous means something that stands out from its surroundings. Simple as that. It's not technical. It's really not complicated. So yeah, have a look at the stuff really for yourself and you'll see what I'm talking about. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. All right. All right. You guys are just going back and forth with each other. So Ab03, I think I seen you earlier. Didn't say hello to you. Hello, man. Good to see you in there. Barry said, check out Dr. Brandenburg. He'll tell you right where the bombs hit, how high in the air. They weren't a trace they leave behind. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's talked about that. There was one, in fact, the large one was over the face of Cydonia, and the other one it was just southeast. It was east, but just a little south of that area. It was a smaller explosion. The larger one was right there at the Cydonia region on Mars. So yeah, absolutely. And like I said, just check this stuff out. Just Google what's the location of the rovers on Mars, and guess what? You'll find, if you find the right one, it'll show the planet, and it'll show like Cydonia region, and then this other area. And I keep forgetting what it is. I need to write it down, right? But regardless, and what it is these rovers and landers are all south of it. Coincidental? I don't think so. But it's a fact. They're there. Like I said, I tell people, don't believe everything I say. Go ahead and check this stuff out for yourself. Missy Moonwillow, you said Mars is a realm, one we ruined before, is my guess. How many times humanity needed to get moved to a new biosystem environments. Gosh, the whole space lie is frustrating. Yeah, it's almost like they're trying to hide who we really are, and it's sad because again, I've always said this. I think we're part of something much larger, and this is the reason why some of us may feel it in our DNA. I don't know, but when I look out there, I see, yeah, we're part of something much larger, and yeah, some people get scared by that, and I go, why? You know what I mean? Why would you? You're part of something much larger that should make you feel good inside. You're not just this one little speck in the whole universe with life on it. Come on, you know. Michael Stockton said, I used to never even consider this UFO stuff beyond sci fi until I got my own telescope, did my own observations and research. After that, I realized that we are not alone, never have been, and the government is covering up. Absolutely. I think so. Yeah. Badur, you said, what happened to the Baltic Sea anomaly? It was pretty interesting. Just don't hear about it anymore. Yeah, they were supposed to do more about it. My buddy Thomas from Mars Moon Space channel on history. I mean, history. I'm thinking history because I'm looking at this right here. When you go to his channel on YouTube, Mars Moon Space, go to that, just put Mars Moon Space in the search box channel, and just put on there. And he was the one that actually was talking with all these people that were involved, the whole crew that was involved when they went down there with their the small submersibles and everything else. So you could check it out. But yeah, you don't hear too much about it, but they're still wanting to go down there more and stuff like that. So yeah. Corky, you put on there, Dr. Brandenburg believes that the bomb was activated in a desert. No, it is a desert now after the bomb. Yeah, pretty much. Well, yeah, I don't believe that, if it was intentionally set off, first of all, where did this thing come from? But if it was set off, they're not just going to do it. It's like doing it over in some kind of arid part of the earth. For what reason? Other than testing. But what would be the reason to do two of them? And they're only like 100 miles apart. I mean, they were like, they're hundreds of miles. They're not like right next door. Well, when you look at the map, it looks like there's one here, but clearly there's miles and miles between them, right? So yeah. Jerry said, "Is anyone else on Mars?" That I couldn't tell you. I mean, it's pure speculation, but some people say, well, if they knew of this pending doom that was going to happen, maybe they would. It's kind of like us. We have people, that have underground shelters. We have people that live underground. We have even, like we have giant malls that are underground. Um, and a lot of people built homes and stuff like that underground. So, you know, if they were more underground and that thing, like I said, when I did that video on that about that pan, right? It looked like some structure had like covers that could open and close. Like they used the surface of Mars as a shelter. In other words, it would insulate them from the really bad weather. And if you're built into rocks and maybe buttes and hills, stuff like that, they say they have these massive windstorms. What's the windstorm going to do to you if you live in a butte? It's not going to do anything to you. I don't care if it's 300 miles an hour, which, to me, it makes sense. It's like, if it's like living underground, if you had a tornado go above you, what's it going to do to you? Absolutely nothing. Not a thing. If you're in a hillside that's part of a giant mountain, what's it going to do to you? You're going to have some dust flying around, some rocks and stuff. But I mean, other than that, nothing. You're going to come outside. Okay, next, nothing. Not going to bother you in the least bit. And it kind of looks like it has these weird doors that open and close, and like stuff's built into the side of hillsides and mountains and buttes, and kind of like the Pueblo Indians did here on Earth. They built right into, and a lot of ancient civilizations did that. They built and carved right into the side of these giant cliff sides and everything else. So yeah. Yeah, Ricardo, you're right. Darwin was totally right in his theory of evolution, except for the human species. Yeah, because I mean, they still question. They said, listen, how is it that, you know, like if we're supposed to be from apes or the chimpanzee, it doesn't matter which branch it was, right? If it was, why aren't they just as smart as we are? Even scientists have said, yeah, the human brain has jumped like in huge leaps and bounds and to what it is today. And they can't understand why. It's not that it just happened overnight, but it didn't take millions upon millions of years like they claimed. Now, I'm not a scientist. I don't know. But the thing is, if they're saying that, they got to be questioning it for a reason. I'm not sure. What did this person put here? Um, just went by. God, hate when it does that. Trying to find you again here. You had a question. I was trying to. I'm going to find it. It just jumped up on me, and I'm trying to find you again here. Xenodrice, I think it is. I'm not even sure I pronounced that last time. What do you think about what I said? I'm not sure. I've tried to go back. I couldn't find your message. If you can, go ahead and put it up again there so we can read it. Robert S., you said, I remember reading about Venus and watching some compelling videos on the theory that a star, our sun or any star, with their huge gravitational swirl might actually create planets. Yeah, I heard about something like that before. I never really got into it, but that's what I've heard too. Now, how true that is, I don't know. Um, I guess if they can make a vortex of some sort and, get stuff to like impact and start and, start it off, but I don't know how true that is, to be truthful with you. Josty, yeah. Yeah, I actually have that same theory. You said there's a good chance we are ourselves are the Martian descent. And like I said, if I believe we might even have like Earth and Mars at one time was probably coexisting, meaning civilizations on both. And then one just went terribly wrong or horribly wrong. Can you imagine? This is weird too. Just think about this a minute. How do we know at some point before, because Dr. John Brandenburg talks about that, the two explosions in the Martian atmosphere in 1941. It was seen by a scientist. They seen it. And of course, now we got the, what is it, Xenon 129, and some other radioactive residual, we'll call it. So how do we know, unless you were watching that planet all the time, how do we know that that planet didn't have life at one time? And meaning up to that point. And we were coexisting. And maybe we just, instead of having like a war with another country, we just decided to blow them away. It's planet to planet as opposed to country to country. Now, I know that sounds really far fetched and it is pure speculation. So, don't take that as Bible. But the whole point is, it's like, how do we know that it's not something we did? And if it was something they did, and the reason why I believe that was the actual turning point, guys, at 1941 was the time that planet blew up. I think that's when it get killed off. And they're just waiting. This is the reason why they're only sending machines, because even in they sent the lander in 1975, 1976, the Viking lander. But then as far as rover-wise, they sent the Sojourner in 1997. 2004, the Opportunity and Spirit. 2012, we had Curiosity rover. And then, of course, next year, we're going to have 2021, we'll have the rover 2020. Well, they call it the rover 2020, but it'll be up there in 2021. Greg McCauley, why don't you jump in there too? Appreciate your support as always. Have you seen any of the Project Blue Book show? I have. To be truthful, I don't remember a whole lot about it because it's been a long time. That's been out for God, I don't know how long. But it's interesting. It's like I said, like Majestic, all of these top secret things. When you read into it and then you put all of these pieces together, you kind of like, man, it makes sense. Some people think, oh, it's just a bunch of crap. These are just made up. Why would they make it up? This was back in what? Project Blue Book, I think it was in 50s and 60s, wasn't it? So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that, all of these are real. What would be the point? They knew this stuff was going on, UFOs. They knew there was life on other planets. And this is the reason why they came up with these special groups. We're going to use the term special groups, top secret groups, because they were trying to get together like this, like a round table discussion kind of thing. And what they were doing is trying to figure out what would happen, if alien life came here. What would happen if we would experience that today? So on and so forth. And they had all of this, again, UFOs. They're doing all kinds of crazy stuff, man. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot more going on way back in the day. Like I said, 40s, 50s, 60s. And, I wish you kind of wish you could be in on it, like a fly on the wall at that time and find out what was really going on, because I'll bet we can't even fathom half the stuff they've seen or found. Think about it. What was that? What was it? FAST, I think they call it, the largest radio telescope now in China. It is fully functional. I think they had it. What was it? 2 or 3 years ago, they had fully built it and they started testing it then. But now it's fully functional. I'm kind of curious now what they're going to find. Will they let the truth out if they find something interesting? That's the key. Again, Craig, I appreciate you, man. Pete's Vlogs, what's going on, Pete? Funk Master Dub, I didn't even see you in there. I think I just seen you briefly, and of course the screen jumped up on me when I clicked on one. It said, comment held for whatever, and it's really nothing bad. It says like shit in it, but I guess it holds it because of the swear words, whatever. But good to see you in there, man. Did I miss that? Oh, okay. Zenedrice. I said my next video will feature your work. Great to have your expertise on my channel. You will get links. I'm sorry, for Lunar and Mars channel. Yeah, as long as, like I said, you throw me the credit, it'd be fine. I never had a problem with that. Daffith, you put on there. I guess that's called. Do you think certain authorities keep an eye on you? And you're from Manchester, UK. All right. I think they actually watch the channels, and I don't mean like they're sitting there going, "Gee, we're going to learn something from this." I think what they're doing is, like I said, they're using channels like mine, like a pawn, right? I mean, what they're doing, they're trying to figure out, to me anyway, if they're going to do anything with these channels, they're going to sit there and go, "Let's find out what the consensus is with these among these people." Um, you know, when they talk about certain topics, because you guys bring up your own stuff, right? In other words, you bring up your own topics, your feelings, your views about what's going on, so on and so forth, right? So they're trying to get the consensus about what you guys think. And it's probably not just my channel. I'm sure it's a lot of other channels, and it would make sense. So when they're seeing these type things in the comments and the videos and stuff like that, that's why it's important to comment and stuff like that. So when they're looking at these things, they're probably going, okay, so would they be freaked out? Well, according to this, they probably would not be, at least most of them. Let's say they go, 10% would be semi freaked out and the rest of them would be fine with it. Okay. You know what I mean? Obviously, they're not going to learn nothing from them. They're throwing us curveballs and they're hoping we'll miss. And, and that's the whole key. And that's what I think is really going on. So, yeah. I think if they do anything, they just monitor to see how we react to certain things and topics and stuff, right? Rachel said that Chris has exposed metal mesh like structures on Mars, concrete structures, which are so-called rocks, but these mesh structures appear flat, which would be considered a wall in all honesty. Yeah. I mean, we've seen things where, wow, you have like two walls. You have, like I said, what look like that weird doorway or entrance. It looked like it would be something like a bulkhead to your basement of your house. Just kind of crazy things. When you see like a funky looking rock, that's why I don't really pay attention to the smaller things. You go, okay, that makes sense to me. It's a rock. And I would definitely concur. But when you got things like that, where you got, like I said, two identical walls, you got these things that look like they're carved, like a perfect arch and then completely flat at the bottom, like a windowsill or like a carved in area into a rock, just weird things. And then you got what look like tubing going to certain things. Oh yeah, come on. Alien Hunter, you said, have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks, Chris. All the best, mate. All right, man. Cheers. You have a good one there. And we'll be in there to check out your stuff every now and then. I like to get in there and watch what you got there, especially when you're doing live and stuff like that. So yeah, anytime you need to hit me up, just let me know. Jerry, you said, Chris, are there any other countries on Mars photographing the planet? Yeah, we got India with their mom satellite. We've got ESA or ESA, European Space Agency, and now we had Russia go up there. Of course, you never heard another thing about it. This was what, a year and a half, almost 2 years ago now. Never heard a word about it. That was it. Um, Rachel, you had a message that says redacted or retracted, rather. So if you want to go ahead and do it again or write it again, another one. Why they're all being retracted? That's weird. Oh, Charlene, you seen that, right? Or Charlene, you said you saw that too, the Baltic episode. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I mean, when you see that thing under there, it's like an ancient civilization that built that. It's more of a stone structure than anything because they're making it sound like this weird Baltic Sea UFO. But how do we know? But they're not really. I mean, they sent it down there. So much dust floating around, meaning the mud and stuff just floating around in front of the camera, and because of the propulsion, meaning the impellers or the propellers, excuse me, on these submersibles. So it was tough. I don't know if you've seen that, but they were trying to like pull back so they wouldn't kick up that much dirt and mud and stuff. So yeah. Aditya Tata, you said, have you seen horseshoe structures on the moon? No, I don't think I've seen those on the moon or boomerang looking objects. Can you point them out in your other moon and Mars photos? I've seen like things in the sky. Now, we've seen things that look like, I call them insects or birds. And again, pure speculation because we don't know how far it is from the actual camera. The problem with that is when you look at this camera, you see what looks like something round or something almost oval, and you see a motion blur. So clearly this thing's moving. Whether it's going that way, you see a little motion blur right behind it. Going up, whatever direction it's going, the opposite way, it's got a blur, a motion blur. Now, some people said, well, that's nothing more than a micron of dust. Okay, well, where's the rest of them? If there's enough wind there to kick up that one, why is that the only one there? So we don't know if it's some small insect or if it's something much larger, but it's so far away because it's a low res photo that we don't know what it is. But you only see like these little oval shaped things. You don't see like, like anything with like wings, like a motion wing, like something like that. We never see that. We only see what looks like like I said, like an oval shape. So, but as far as like things in the sky now, we do have, I think it's a nav cam. The left nav cam has what looks like a UFO. And it's actually like burnt pixels or something in the camera. And it's in every single photo you look at. So, people said, oh, did you see that UFO? Unfortunately, it's not a UFO. It's an actual dead pixels in that particular camera. I think it's on the left nav cam. Throat gets dry. $420 Alien, you said it does look like a Stone Millennium Falcon. Yeah, it does. Actually has that weird details about it and everything. Jonathan Waddell, you said, do you think space is a vacuum? I think it's a void, meaning there's no air and there's no anything. And like I said, it's supposed to be cold out in space because there's nothing for the sun to actually radiate on, unless, of course, you're on the ISS and things like that. But, I think it's a void, basically of anything, air or anything like that. Of course, we got planets, so that's not void of that. But I mean, as far as air or anything like that, yeah. Massanissa, you put on there, Chris, you want to say all civilizations of Mars, it become rock. I don't know if I'd say, I think they built into rock. And I think a lot of this stuff we're seeing, well, it's hard to determine because we know a lot of it's manipulation, right? We get that. The problem with it is some of this also encrusted, meaning if you had an object like this phone laying there, what would happen after the moisture gets on it? then dust covers it. Oh, well, wait a minute. Well, now it's rained again on it, so now it's cleaned it off. But after a certain amount of time, it's encrusted it to the point where it becomes like a, like petrified, and it becomes something else. So it's no longer what it was, but it has the shape of it. So I think a lot of it's manipulation. Some of it could be natural. I think there's a whole lot of things just playing on that. Pete's Vlogs, you said I saw a lot of dome type structures. Yeah, I have too. And it's just, they do. They look dome in shape, and then they have some of them. Like I said, they look like they almost have like openings in these things. Weird. And unfortunately, the way they make these photos, they make them look like giant mountains, right? But what if you were in, what's the best analogy we can use? Let's say we're in a junkyard. Now you're walking in, so there's no cars there, trucks, but from a distance, let's say 75 to 100 feet away, you would make it look like from that point where the camera is to that point, you'd make it look like a distance away. But then what you would do is you'd dress up everything, make it look like rocks, and then blend them together, make them look like they're all linked together. And now it looks like a giant mountain. So now it looks like something that's, oh my God, this thing is insanely big. So therefore, the distance from that camera to those mountains has to be ungodly. It has to be like a good mile away. That's not the case. I don't think it's the case at all. When you really, really look at these photos, I think these things are like hundreds of feet away. They're not miles away. They're not all kinds of distance away. They're just like within, when I say within walking distance, it could be like 100, 200 feet away. It could be up to a 16th of a mile away. Who cares? But it's not the distance that it looks like when you look at them. Now, from my research, from what I've done. Pete Vlogs, thank you very much for your support. You're always there, man. I appreciate you. You know that. Noodle says Alien Hunter invites you all to join us tomorrow for some live chat about the mysteries cosmos. Absolutely. Yeah, you got to check out Alien Hunter. He's got a good channel. Check out his stuff. He does good work on his channel, and he usually has a lot of close-ups of. I think he's done a couple on Mars, but he usually has a whole lot of stuff that's really close in scans, and he just goes over them of the moon. You got all kinds of craters, but what you have is a lot of weird things around these craters and things that are. Again, it almost looks like they build almost like elongated domes, if you will. It's like kind of flat, but then they go like this, and you can always see like a rectangular shadow. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but it goes like this here, and there's a bunch of them in one area. And it's almost like, are these like underground? They can go in and fly under it? Or is it like this huge port where you go in, and then of course the structure's inside, and wherever you park a vehicle of some sort, you know what I mean? It's just weird it's just some of the crazy things you see in these photos. And he really does a great job of zooming in and checking this stuff out. You got to check him out. Well, like I said, did you, when you say that, you said, have you seen a horseshoe or boomerang structures on the moon? I haven't seen any of those. I think you've claimed you have, and I'm not saying that they're not there. I'm saying that the horseshoe, I've seen something similar to that, but somebody else had done a video on that. I didn't find it. Somebody else had done something similar to that. And boomerang structures on the moon, I've seen weird structures, but not in a boomerang shape. But you can bet if they are, in fact, they're structures. It can't be naturally made. Especially, you can have a formation on the ground. I get that because the moon does have quakes. So it's going to shift. It's going to do all kinds of crazy stuff, right? We know that. It's the same thing here happens on Earth. But what I find interesting is that when you see something on the ground, it's perfectly carved, meaning nice, sharp 90-degree angles. It's not just sloppy, like a hill, smooth. You see it like perfectly crisp and everything else on the edges. To me, that says intelligently made. Because when you look at the surroundings around that particular object, and it's all just regular terrain, clearly it's some kind of structure. I just looked at a photo, in fact, of the moon, and I'm going to show it to you guys. It looks like this cratered area, but it actually has structures all in it. At first, I thought it was nothing more than pixelation. I thought it's just compression artifacts because it's a small photo. But when you make the photo larger and bring it up to like 300 DPI, when you bring it up, all of a sudden you go, wait a minute, all of these pixels have disappeared, but yet these other objects are still there. They look like a bunch of squares, but they're like in one area, overhangs, meaning there's structure, then it's like an overhang box and kind of weird things right on the edge of this crater. Pretty interesting. Ricky Spanish, you said, but I can see them from Earth. Are you talking about you got a telescope and you're looking at these things yourself? 420 aliens, smash that like button. He says, smash it, hammer time. You know what, Jerry? I thought of that. You said, Chris, what if you put together some of your best anomalies and send them to CNN, Fox, etc.? I think the best thing would to be do is put it, send it over to RT, Russia Today. They're the only ones. It seems like they don't mind doing stuff like that. When they had Minister Paul Hellyer on there, and like I said, it's just awesome when he was on there, he's talking about how there's aliens are among us. There's, in fact, I think you guys can put on there, just put RT and then put Minister Paul Hellyer. And he's on there for like, I don't know if it's like 45 minutes or an hour or something like that, but he's talking about how there's crafts flying around. There's like reptilian races, all kinds of races of aliens have been here for years and stuff like that. And this guy is like, he's not some fruitcake. He's literally, he's a big cheese back up in Canada, right? So absolutely. I mean, Rachel Anderson says Mars is really visible this time of year. I can see it in the night sky just west of my. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it may be in its closest to proximity of Earth too. Because it'll say I forget how many miles it is from there, meaning it can vary, of course. Because I think Mars is on a slight elliptical, so it does get closer and then it does get farther. Um, so if I'm not mistaken, it is. Oh, you're fine. I did. You put on there. Sorry, I was at the gym and I know I posted this earlier. So no problems. You're fine. Max K. I saw one insecure team. I thought you meant insecure. Oh, that's what you meant. Awesome boomerang. Yeah, I mean, I've seen them like in videos where you see them here on Earth. As far as Mars or the moon, I think I seen one channel actually showed that, and it was pretty cool. Let me see this thing jumped up here. 357 Robbie said their buildings and vehicles all look like rocks. See, that's why I'm saying I wonder if some of this stuff or a lot of it's encrusted. Because like I said, the weathering back and forth, rain, then of course dust, and of course eventually it just gets dry and encrusted into the point where it's no longer like a metal or something of that effect. Is it something that's been encrusted to the point where it's no longer what it was? It's like a petrified rock now, right? Craig McCauley, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Appreciate your support. He said, if the 2020 rover finds actual evidence of life, do you think we be told? We all know they already know that there's life there, but will they tell us? That's a great question. Here's the funny part, because it's supposed to be better cameras. So we're going to have high definition, according to them, high definition, and we're going to have larger photos to boot. You can look it up as far as the technical parts of the cameras, but they're supposed to be a lot better cameras. I think they call them like super cameras or something like that. So they're going to be really, really good as far as that part goes. Are they going to show us anything of any value? I think we're going to have to still keep hunting for it, to be truthful. That's exactly what I think is going to happen. I don't think we're going to see, I don't think they're just going to say, oh, well, look at this. Look what we found. Can you imagine how bad that would look if they went, well, because the other cameras are trash on the Curiosity, oh, we got better cameras and this is what we found. I guess they could do that, but I don't think that's the case, because I can't even imagine. I know you guys have said this to yourself. You said it in the comment section more than once, where you said, I would love to see the undoctored photos. Can you imagine the stuff they're really seeing there? That would be awesome. Just picture like structures, even if they're dilapidated or whatever. So who cares? The point is to see that in like a raw form. That would be awesome. Because to me, I just go, wow, yeah, I'd be questioning it. What happened to these poor people? Did they do it to themselves? Did some other race do it to them? Were they wiped out somehow? Did they have nuclear power themselves? And those were power plants. And when the great devastation hit, it wiped out them two power plants, and that's where them two explosions came from. And it appeared to be in the atmosphere. Is that a possibility? What do you guys think of that? Is that a possibility? Does that sound too far fetched? I don't think so. Noodles, you said Vice TV ministries. Oh, miniseries. I'm sorry. Pitch YouTube UFO community in depth. Interview Chris of Mars Anomalies Beyond. Renee Cruz profile only, and Tyler Glockner after rehab. Yeah, you're right about that, Noodles. You said says Cat has exited the bag rather. Remember, India, China, and Russia all have the same info. Yeah, I mean, again, I believe, like I said, it's like these elite people, they're top brass of any country in the world, and the ones that are going to Mars and other planets and moons and stuff like that, they're all in the know. And then there's the public, and I mean like the public side of NASA, public side of India's space program, so on and so forth. ESAs, stuff like that. They're all um, they're all in the know. They just know what's going on. And then, like I said, then there's the regular, public version of it, and that's what and because they're all together, they know exactly what's going on. Who knows if they're not if they're all gathering it for the greater good, that would be good because maybe protect us from something that may come our way, or we can use that technology when we do move there. Because to me, I think if the structures are still there and not all of them are destroyed, we probably just move right into those. Think about it. Why would you need to bring any kind of construction? Meaning, because what they wanted to do was use like robots and do a 3D build on these living quarters for the astronauts once they get there. Well, what happens if they don't have to do that? They're going to just live in these structures that are still there. That would be pretty cool. Because they'd have to be safe, of course. You get that, right? Massanissa, you said, I guess Rachel, you were answering him. He says Mars is the only bright orange glow in the sky from the refraction of the sun's glow on it. Yeah, I mean you can see it pretty good. I mean sometimes when I'm looking at it, like I'm trying to remember how you get the moon. Sometimes you'll see it on the lower left. If you look at the moon itself, it's on the lower left. Of course, it's not always in the same spot because sometimes the moon's not even out, right? So, but a lot of times I'll look at the moon and you can see it's pretty close. You can see it just this little orange orb, very very small, but it's there. Did you? You said to also try to do an analysis on artist rendition images of Jupiter, Saturn's moon. It's funny how you can see massive structures, towers, crafts, domes. You can on some of them, but the problem is some of them are so, doctored up. I don't even bother with them. I don't, um, because it's like now. Well, it's not much better than these Mars ones, to be truthful with you, right? But the idea to me is just like if it takes that much work to really get into this, and not in other words, not see anything and then it takes you to really, really work at it to get it. Not a big fan of doing that. I don't mind seeing something there and then trying to enhance around it in case it's larger, like I did on that moon video. Then that makes sense because clearly these things are bigger than just putting these. Like I said, I think they're like using a lasso tool where they just literally just lasso a part of the ground and just cut and paste it right on the object they want to take out. If something was like the shape of a cut orange, like where it's like this and flat, do the same thing on the ground they want to cut out, that same texture, just move it right on top and plop it right on it. You never know it's there. But all you'd see is like little pieces sticking out, which I did show you guys. And if they've been doing that since that time, then why would they stop at Mars, Moon, or any of that sort? Why would they stop? So they're going to continue to do that. But it's almost like I said, it's almost like they leave out these breadcrumbs. So you can go, oh, you can get little tidbits of it and see what's going on. And again, it's for the people who really want to see this stuff. Because most people just glaze over real quick. Oh, look at that. Pictures of Mars. That's awesome. Next. Oh, here's some moon pictures. Oh, nothing to see there. Just, see the astronauts and, the landing capsule, or, the lander rather. Things like that. They don't pay no mind to it. But, when you really get into these things and really see the stuff, that's when you just go, wow, this is neat. And then, if they've seen that on the moon, they know right off the bat. If every country looked and said, that's not ours, and it's not mine either, well, then clearly it's somebody else's or something else's. So if that's there on the moon and nobody on Earth put it there, even in our maybe ancient, because when we were here many years ago and then died off and came back, fourth, fifth cycle we're in now, at least that's what they claim. It's a speculative, claim. But, if that's true, and we were actually thousands of years ago, we were actually more, what's the word I want to use? Technologically advanced. We can use that. And if we were back thousands of years ago and it was our stuff way back in the day, we can still learn something from it. No matter how you look at it, we can still learn something from it. So whether it's ours, but if it's not and it's somebody else's, it makes perfect sense. You know what I mean? You go, yeah, if it's there clearly and it's not ours or nobody here is on Earth, we got life other places. That's all they need to see. And then they said, okay, time to run wild and find it on any other planet in our solar system. Because if any aliens landed here on our moon and have been landing here for years, even ancient civilizations have said that, if that's true, then it makes perfect sense. If they've been landing on the moon, they've been landing on every darn planet or moon in our solar system. You can bet on it. You said, are they hiding real images through these artists' renditions? Yes and no. The reason why I say yes and no is because some of them I think is a complete artist rendition. In other words, it's not even a real photo underlaid. A lot of these will have the real photo. Like I said, the Mars ones are the real deal, but there's information, a digital overlay over these photos, and they can just put out whatever they want and blotch it out. So the real information's there, but it's being hidden. Now, some of it's not. You can see things in there. People just don't even enhance it. They look and they go, what's this right here? There's a perfectly made block. I mean, out of all of this chaotic rock, there's this perfect block with perfect 90-degree angles, and it's a cube or whatever. Why is that there in the middle of all of this? Makes you wonder, right? What's going on, Frack? Good to see you there, man. Thank you for the support. Always appreciate you. You know that. And he said, have a great weekend, everyone. Well, right back at you, man. Have yourself a good one. Now, at least you guys got the whole weekend, which is nice, right? Because usually we have it tomorrow and Saturday. Well, some of you guys, it's already Saturday, but for most of us here in the United States, it's, Friday evening. So anyway, Frack, you have yourself a good weekend as well, right? MG Gamer, you said, I think they have a live stream from the rover, like watching TV. Don't believe they're delay BS. And I've said this before, and like I said, I've been hinting that I'm going to do this article, but I might just hand it over to you guys and let you read it. I got it on the other computer, so I can't do that right now. But they actually said that where, this thing just jumped on me here again. Hold on. Where what they call quantum communications. Again, picture being the rover on Mars, and then you got Earthrise, not Moonrise, but Earthrise. The rover knows at what time it rises because it's all calculated in and all this other BS, and it immediately sends information two ways. One, through the actual orbiter or orbiters, and then once the orbiters are close enough to Earth, where it's a shorter distance, they send it back to Earth. And then the rover itself can send information directly with a tie gain antenna straight to the DSN, this Deep Space Network radio telescope dishes. So, but what they found was, wait a minute, it's not taking 20 minutes to get here. It's literally seconds. So they're going, what's going on? And once this guy went into this thing and started reading, said, how the hell is that possible? How are they getting this information almost instantly? this doesn't make sense. So they went back and they looked at the information and the memory dump that they had to do on the Spirit rover. It was the actual Spirit, I believe. Yeah, Spirit rover. And like I said, they found out. They said, "Wait a minute, this thing, it's not possible. How is this thing getting this information so quick? It doesn't make any sense." So they said and they have a thing called quantum communications, and they said they may be actually using this, and this is the reason why it's coming here in seconds and not minutes. It makes more sense, and if they would, that would explain why they can actually do a live feed, and it wouldn't even surprise me. Now, for us, we were like, "What the hell is quantum communications?" We know how radio waves work, so we don't think nothing of it, right? We just think, oh yeah, well, it takes a little bit of it's a little lag in time if we're talking. Heck, you could even hear it on your phone when you talk. Hello, and then somebody's got their phone on speakerphone. Yeah, hello, and, hello. It's like a delayed. But what if it's almost instant within seconds, like your phone is? That's cool. That's pretty neat. So it's pretty cool. Jerry, you put on there, Chris. In my humble opinion, NASA would get so much more funding if they showed real photos. Yes and no, because like I said, they just take the money out of the vault, so to speak. They just take whatever the hell they want. So I don't believe that's the case. Back in the day, maybe during the Apollo missions when they needed the funding, but now they don't need it. They just take money wherever they need it and just take it for themselves. You would think so, like you said, if they showed the real photos, then clearly, they would get all kinds of funding. But would they fund them, or would they say, wait a minute, stop right in their tracks and say, you need to tell us more because you were lying about it before. Now you need to divulge it. Would they actually fund them, or they say, no, you're done because you lied to us. We want to know everything there is. Take them to court, the whole 9 yards. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I think it would just cause chaos, basically, right? Renee, you said yes, but that would be ridiculous, Chris, if they could throw it on the old cameras. Jump way down here. Whoop. The thing just went down to the bottom here, which is fine. Rolando Alves says, going to bed. God bless. Thank you, Rolando, for stopping in. Always appreciate that. We are going to be jumping off this as well. Again, another great hangout. You guys are awesome. Thank you for all your support, whether it be just verbal or whatever, as well as monetary. You guys are awesome, and I do appreciate you. I really do. And yeah, I agree with you there. Corge, I think your name is, but he said, I think if NASA lied, they must return the money. Yeah, that's going to happen. I mean, look at your government. They rip you off every day. So I don't know if that's going to happen, but yeah, I agree with you. They should. But yeah, absolutely. They should actually return it. Well, at least be sued for, as much as they can, right? Pete Ferrero, you put on there, Chris, if you can find the stuff they've hidden, there has to be a lot more we will never see. Thanks for your work. Well, that's the whole thing. If they want, like I said, it's almost like they're doing it in inquisitive mind. If they want to see it, they'll find it, right? If you don't really give a crap about it, you just glance over the photos and next one, next, then yeah, they're just going to, those are the people going to still stay in the dark, where people like us are actually looking at these things and scrutinizing them, finding crazy, even if you don't enhance them. You don't even have to enhance a lot of these. Just look at a lot of these pans, which I enjoy doing, because you can see a whole lot more and you get a better perspective of what it's near. That's why the pans are really good to do, right? But I still do single photos too. But most of the time I'll use pans because, again, you can get a good idea just how vast the area is that it's around and what else may be near it. So it definitely helps. Anyway, guys, thank you, Kenneth. Appreciate it. You said thank you, Chris. Have a great weekend, everyone. And to everyone as well, everybody have yourself a great weekend. Awesome hangout. As always, you guys are the best. And like I said, we'll continue to do this. So just next Friday is the same thing, 5 p.m. Eastern time. stay tuned for that. Watch the videos coming up. Like I said, I'm going to try to go back to that other one I did, but one section of that pan that I did, I'm going to try to do, really work that out and see if I can bring up more of that stuff, because I think there's a lot more in there to see under the overlay. That's the key. Anyway, guys, have yourself a great weekend. You guys are awesome. Thank you for the support, and we'll see you in the next Hangout and the next videos. So peace, everyone. Have yourself a good one.